Well, hello there. Welcome to my intermediate writing course. Professor Kent Lee here. How are you doing? All right. In this video, I'm going to go over introductory stuff, basic aspects of the course. So today, in this first video of today, we'll talk about the course format. We'll go through the syllabus, the 강의 계획서, and the different details in the syllabus, the course booklet, the schedule, policies, assignments, grading, and basic themes of this course. In my next video, I'll go more into the upcoming assignments and some other general tips for learning and for this course. All right, so let's get started. First of all, I want to apologize for any confusion about the course format. This is going to be a recorded lecture course. This is going to be mostly or entirely recorded lectures, not a live class. So my apologies for the confusion. So what happened is in the portal or Irumi system, the computer system, when we enter the syllabus or the syllabi, syllabus is a Latin word, plural is syllabi. For each course and section, we have to enter like 2 or 3 different versions of the syllabus. PDF version, which is what I follow, what I'm going to follow. And then there's another version, which is sort of a form. You put stuff into a web form, and it's kind of awkward and clunky, very old style, but I think that's what the university treats as the official syllabus, and that's what you see, what you first see when you're looking at course registration information, and that's what gets imported into the LMS, the syllabus field of the LMS for this course. And I think because it's an awkward interface and in Korean, somehow I didn't really see, I guess I didn't see the section where I define the course format. So I didn't change it. So I guess I didn't see it somehow. I don't know what happened, and I don't think I can go back and change it once it's entered after a certain time. But of course, I always like to revise my syllabus right up until class starts. So the PDF version of the syllabus, that PDF document, which you might be able to find in the course registration, is what I'm following, and I'm updating it right now. I'm in the process of revising the course. I taught this course last year, and things were kind of rushed. I just started, my job here at Bugyongdae in spring of 2020, and I taught the intermediate writing last fall. Everything was kind of rushed. New job and all. Your first year as a professor in a new job is always very stressful and crazy. And I had taught intermediate writing before. I'd usually taught advanced writing. That's what I taught pretty much every year for the past, 10 years or so in my life. I taught intermediate writing before, but it had been a number of years since I'd done that. And I had to kind of rush, in a very rushed fashion last year, throw together some my past contents for intermediate writing, and I tried to do it through Zoom, and it didn't work. I generally find that a writing class in Zoom just doesn't work very well. Not only the nature of just teaching writing, which really depends on a lot more on me giving feedback, but also I like to teach in an interactive way with group discussion of topics, because you'll learn more that way with group discussion in a live class. It just doesn't work in Zoom somehow. And of course the time of day maybe was bad too, and things like that. So I've been redesigning the course and changing the contents, and I'm redesigning the schedule and the book. And also the university has changed some of the dates. They usually make some last minute changes in the semester dates, and I'm kind of working with that right now. I just found out about that. So hopefully by this weekend or so, I'll have a new syllabus. I'll put the PDF, I'll post the PDF in the LMS announcement space. Coming soon. I'm still working on that. I'm also still working on the book. So I don't use published books language books I find usually are pretty terrible and overpriced. I'm putting together my own and revising it. And I'll post that as a free PDF in the LMS announcement space. You can download it for free. I wouldn't recommend you, well, if you want to, you could print it out at a print shop, fine. But there's a slight chance that around midterm time I might say I want to change some things. I'll put out a revised version. So you can print it out at your own risk. Video format. So I'm going to upload videos, probably making them available like the day before, the night before, the class date for each class. And I'll explain more about that later. So let's go through some details of the syllabus. And the syllabus is also going to be in the book. So you really need to read the syllabus, a lot of important stuff. There's a nice scary picture of me at the top. You can see my last name is Lee. If you don't know me, I'm obviously not Chinese or Korean. Lee is also an old English word. You can look it up in the dictionary. My ancestors came from England and Scotland to the US about 200 and 300 years ago. It's that old English Lee. And if you study British poetry, you might see the word used in some older poetry. It's an older word. My contact information is there. I have several email addresses in case you need to contact me. Kakao only for emergencies, if there's really an emergency, but in a video lecture format class, I don't see that as a likely problem. Time is in the morning, and that's one consideration for my choice of the recorded lecture format. Sending assignments or important emails, I recommend. Sometimes emails get lost between, say, my Gmail and maybe your Korean email servers. Seems like Hanmail is the worst about that. But also part of the problem, I think, is on Gmails and or other international mail servers. If it's really important, or if it's an assignment you're turning in by email, send it to maybe 2 of my email addresses, including one of the Korean ones. So, description of the course. Well, we're going to talk about, we've probably talked about writing about paragraph styles, different kinds of paragraphs before, but we're going to kind of look at real examples and then discuss these paragraph styles in relation to your midterm and final essays, assignments. Talk about pre-writing techniques, especially next week. Basic structure of paragraphs and essays. We'll go over that, which you may have done before. But this class has more of a focus on professional writing, like business writing, and especially academic writing. I don't have a business background, but I'm exploring more of that in this semester. It's going to be one of the themes here. Persuasive and explanatory essays, analytical essays, and such. The videos, again, are going to be uploaded or available right before the class, and there's a reason for that, because I don't like plain lectures, but of course I'm kind of forced to do that. Plain lecture is often just like an information dump, or the professor dumps information, and especially for writing and language classes, you don't learn as much that way. So again, if it's a live class, I would teach you in a more interactive way, give you questions to discuss in groups, and you learn more that way by working through problems in groups. And you can't really do the group component, the social thing this semester, which is sad. So instead, I'm going to probably have you do short, very short, brief assignments beforehand, and then the topic will then be fully explained in a lecture afterwards. And that's how I'm going to probably do the course more this semester. I'm redesigning the course this semester, and that's one thing I'm doing. More about assignments later. Textbooks, again, I'll make the textbook available to you. There's in the PDF syllabus, there's a link to the syllabus PDF that link might be broken. It's on my Google Drive, and Google has recently changed the way those kinds of links work. The link might be broken and you need to update it. Sometimes we will use a class website. I have a class website which we will use sometimes for certain things, certain assignments, including information on midterm and final. And I'll provide you a syllabus later. Let's look at the, so I'm looking at the general schedule. I'm still working on this. Next week we'll talk a little bit about pre-writing techniques and maybe have you practice a little bit of that later. Then we'll get into paragraph types and look at some examples and have you kind of work through some examples and such. Maybe around Chuseok, we've got some holidays here I need to work around. So those are going to be shifted to the kind of makeup period that's in December, that week 15 in December. I might just record some lectures on grammar and style stuff for week 15 in December. It's around December 8th, and make them available at any time. I'm sure how the university just changed that part of the semester schedule, so I've got to work that out. We'll talk about some style stuff anyway in the classes and regular lectures. We'll teach you like Chicago style. If you don't know Chicago style, you might have used one form of Chicago style before, where you're mentioning information from a source and you footnote that source. You might have done that. That's probably Chicago style. I'm going to teach you two different versions of Chicago style for citing and managing sources, things that you cite when you cite ideas, information from sources and such. And then we'll have the midterm. So some of the assignments and contents before the midterm will kind of lead up to your midterm. What I'm thinking about for the midterm is this. I want this course to be kind of practical, but also kind of professional and academic, although not as much as my advanced writing course. Most of you are English majors, and maybe friends and family are saying, "Oh, English, what are you going to do with that kind of degree? You're not going to get a high-paying job." Well, some of you might be interested in teaching in your future. Some of you might be interested in going on for further studies in graduate school for a master's, a Soksa, or a PhD, a Paksa. And I kind of want to make part of the course for you. Some of you may be thinking of working for companies. After you finish, you can get company jobs with your English degree and other humanities degrees, especially international companies. They need people with your English skills and your language skills and your cross-cultural skills. That's something to consider. If you don't know what you're going to do with your degree, think about working for a company, especially international companies. There are probably some good fun jobs. So some of the course contents can be something you can choose an option that's suitable for that, if that's in your future. So I'm thinking maybe having you come up with maybe something like a proposal for like a senior research project, or a proposal for a business idea, investment, a business idea, some kind of proposal where you have to kind of say, "Hey, I'm qualified to do this. Please let me have a chance. Maybe give me some money, like a scholarship for a senior research project, or for something you might do in graduate school in a master's program, or some idea for company project or something like that." I'm kind of playing with ideas like that for the midterm, or evaluating an educational institution, critique this university or university system in your country in general, critique that and such. So I'm kind of thinking about ideas like that for the midterm that are kind of practical. Again, I'm changing the course over last semester, so I'm still working on that. And after the midterm, summarizing, paraphrasing. We'll talk more about summarizing, paraphrasing, citing sources again. Different kinds of analytical paragraphs, and Chicago style. I'm going to teach you then a more formal kind of Chicago style. It's a bit more formal than the footnote style that you might be used to. Now, if you are used to a different style already, AMA, APA, MLA, you can use that too, I don't mind. I'm used to different systems like that, I don't mind. But for this class, I'm mainly going to teach the Chicago style. It's practical for many of you who are maybe going to be taking literature classes, theoretical linguistics courses, where often, well, either the Chicago style might be used or they might use something similar in literature courses, something similar called the MLA system. If you learn Chicago, you can learn other systems pretty easily. Again, the makeup period during week 15 of December, probably grammar style stuff. Excuse me. Finals week. So I don't give traditional exams. I don't believe in traditional exams. Traditional exams make you, this is the term we use in the education field. You regurgitate information. Regurgitate means you vomit up information. Sounds kind of disgusting, but that's the term we use in education to describe traditional exams. And people like me, we don't like traditional exams. Might be fine for certain classes, but not for my classes, especially language classes. It doesn't do you any good if you just regurgitate something. I make you write papers for the midterm and for the final. You learn more that way, and it's probably more fun, and you'll have a choice of topics that are maybe more practical for you. For the final, you're going to critique, maybe analyze, again, an educational institution more in depth. Critique this university. What could it do better? Critique its programs. Critique the education system in your country, high schools, university system. Critique a company if you're interested in business. Also an NGO would be fine too if you're interested in working for NGOs. Hey, pick your favorite NGO, maybe a company you want to work for. I'm going to invite you to do what's called a case study and provide some analysis of the company. And that could be looking at why this company succeeded, why it failed, or your recommendations for what this company should do in the future, something like that. So kind of like a case study or an evaluation study of a company, an NGO, education system, educational institution, something like that. And if you're interested in teaching in education or academic track, that might be good for you. If you're interested in business, you could choose a business case study so that this course will be more practical for you in your future. So there are some more things. Okay, so grading system. Let's talk about grading. 10% of your grade is attendance. I can't really check participation, how will you participate, because you're watching lectures. But you will watch the videos through the LMS, and that will record your attendance, basically. That's your attendance check. I will have sometimes shorter, these are kind of medium length writing assignments, paragraph assignments. It could be like 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs. Minor writing assignments, especially Google Forms. So I will probably be having you do a lot of these short Google Form assignments. You fill out something, you write something in that little online Google form, and you submit it. Click that. You have to click that send Ponegi button or submit button at the bottom to send it. It goes into a spreadsheet in my Google account. And these are relatively light assignments, but there will probably be a lot of them, more than in my previous writing classes. I will grade mainly on effort and quality. So not just quality, your answers don't have to be perfect as long as you are showing good effort, that you're trying to think through the problems and questions in answering them. So effort as well as quality. And again, a lot of these will precede something I'm going to talk about. So you might have like a bunch of Google Form assignments, like several due in the weekend, because in the following 3 lectures on Monday and the 2 on Wednesday, I will probably explain the contents. That's because I want you to think through. You learn more oftentimes by thinking through something first before somebody just explains it to you. It's kind of more of an inductive approach, and that's how I usually like to teach. Midterm paper, final paper. There's a sort of research papers. Some contents in the syllabus about participation might not apply to a lecture class, so Google form assignments, some will be worth 5 points, most will be 10 points, some might be 15, 20, 30, 18 points or whatever. At the end of the semester, I add up all the points, so if there's like a maximum possible of 180 points from all these Google forms and other possible minor assignments, there might be other kinds of minor assignments, so out-of-class homework assignments. I say the total possible is 180 and you got 170, so divide 170 by 180, and that gives you 1 grade for all of your homework assignments. Attendance is going to be based on what the LMS tells me, whether you watched all the videos or not in a timely manner. So again, because I'm going to precede some video contents with Google form assignments before you watch the video explaining the contents, that's why I'm probably going to upload or make the video available maybe not more than the day before that class session, the scheduled session, the calendar day, to make sure you do that Google form assignment. And if you don't do this, well, you lose points. Lose points if you don't do those. It's homework. So you'll be seeing quite a few of those, especially before the midterm, the first half of the semester. For papers, a lot of paper assignments, paragraph assignments, midterm essay, you'll turn those in through the LMS. And I will ask for email addresses from all of you fairly soon so that I can email feedback to you on your assignments. For Google form assignments, it's just going to be, I'll post a link in the LMS and we'll take you to a link outside of the LMS, but then I'll just give you feedback. Look at the back of my book. There are some explanations of the grading criteria for minor assignments and for essays. But if it's like a Google form, you might get 10 points if you just make an honest effort at doing it. You might get 10 out of 10 fairly easily. Or if I feel like you didn't do enough work on it, I might give you just say 9 or 8. It just means you didn't really try enough, and those scores will just be posted without comment in the LMS section. So the LMS might say, here's a Google form assignment, do it, and the link takes you to another web page outside of the LMS with the Google form. You submit it, and then later I'll just say 10 points or 9 points or 8.2, whatever. If for some reason you have a paper assignment, a paragraph or essay assignment, occasionally the LMS is awkward, doesn't work, and you can email it to me, no problem. I understand every semester in every class there's a student who has trouble with the LMS. Not your fault. The LMS works generally well. I like the LMS here. It works well generally, but occasionally it doesn't work right. Assignments, I'll talk more about document format next video, but there's stuff in here about grading and penalties for missing classes, for absences. Integrity, plagiarism, we'll talk a bit about plagiarism, but of course if you commit plagiarism, cheating, you can get an F for the assignment at least. I've done that before. Don't try me. Let's see. So there's some explanation of the grading policies and other policies here. Email, again, there's an explanation at the end of the syllabus about email. And if it's something important, send it to maybe at least 2 of my email addresses, especially if you're using an Korean email server. Sometimes Korean email servers and international mail servers have trouble talking to each other. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think there are problems on both sides. In my next video, I'll explain more about the upcoming assignments for this weekend, next week, and contents for next week. So if you have any questions about the basic course policies, how it's going to be, post those questions in the LMS. If you have a question, maybe somebody else has the same question and they might benefit from seeing the answer. I'll try to answer those quickly. I try to respond to LMS questions and emailed questions as best I can. From time to time, maybe I'm busy with my son weekends or evenings, but I try to check email pretty frequently, or the LMS app on my phone, or in the office. So post questions so that I can answer them soon. In my next video, I'll talk more about document format. I'll talk about some technology tips that are in the book, and some general tips for learning and improving your English writing in general. And then I'll talk about the upcoming assignments. So if you have questions, please ask. And good luck this semester. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.